right. Good evening, guys. We appreciate you guys coming out to learn about our study. Our group spent a lot of time reviewing papers about aluminum. So the main paper we reviewed was a study examining the effects of aluminum when eaten, and it does happen. Not cans or whatever you may think of when you think of aluminum. But actually in antacid tablets. Aluminum's very small and it can be included in a lot of products that we have. The main one being antacid tablets. These are commonly in Tums or Pepto-Bismol, things like that that calm down your stomach when it's upset, and they do that because they're an anti-acid to make it simpler, and they calm down an acidic stomach. So, aluminum has shown signs affecting the immune system in many studies, but the reason why this study is so important is we want to know how. It's shown stimulatory effects where it makes the immune system stronger, and it's also shown depressive effects where it's made the immune system weaker or act slower. So, what has background research shown? So, what we've known for years is that it is very stimulatory. We've put it in vaccines for forever, and it really helps our bodies fight off bacteria and sicknesses that may try to attack our bodies. And what have we seen that has shown contradictory to this is some studies on animals that have shown that it can be depressive on their immune systems and make them move slower and defend worse.
Okay, thank you all again for coming out to the study. So now we're going to go into the methods that the researchers used to sort of assess the effects of aluminum on the immune system and see if it, suppressed it any. So to test their hypothesis, the researchers used several scientific techniques, such as inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometry, calorimetric assays, and flow cytometry. Um, so ICP-MS, which is the short name for inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometry, um, it allowed them to track how much aluminum was being excreted from their systems after consuming antacid tablets. And ICP-MS sounds super complicated, but it really just means that we took a sample, turned it into a very hot gas, and then used a special machine to sort and measure the tiny metal atoms. It's like a super sensitive scale, which allowed the researchers to detect the tiny traces of aluminum that they were excreting. Next, they to measure the immune system activity of the lymphocytes, which are your immune cells, they used a calorimetric assay, which is a test that changes color to show how much of something is in a sample, and that's how they measured how these cells responded to stimulation and measured their activity. And finally, to measure the effects on different specific types of immune cells, they use a technique called flow cytometry, um, which is a type of scientific technique that sorts out different, like the different sizes of these molecules on a gel sheet. And right here we have the results from these flow cytometric analyses from the study. And as you can see, in the CD8 plus graph or the CD8 plus CD45RA graph, the populations of the exposed versus control immune cells stayed relatively the same, meaning that, pre-exposure to these aluminum antacid tablets and after exposure, the populations of the immune cells stayed relatively the same. And that's the same for the third one as well. But in the fourth one, the researchers did have an observation that the CD8 plus CD45R0 immune cells declined in population by a measurable amount, which was an interesting observation. Um, And that sends us officially into our results section. So what did they find? They found that, before exposure, both groups in the study had similar aluminum levels in their urine. But after 2 weeks of taking aluminum-containing antacids, the experimental group had much higher aluminum excretion, which proved that the aluminum was entering their system and lingering. And as the flow cytometry analysis pointed out, most of these immune cell populations remained unchanged. However, there was that one key difference of a decrease in the CD8 plus CD45R0 cells, and that's just that's a complicated name for a type of immune cell called memory cytotoxic T cells, and those are the cells that help your body recognize and fight infections. However, other immune markers, including your T cells and your antibody levels, they did not change significantly. So the only major change that was noted was the change in your memory cytotoxic T cells.
So what does all of this mean? So looking at the graph, we can see that when you take antacids that contain aluminum, the aluminum gets into your body and your body absorbs it and sends it to different places, but eventually your body has to get rid of it, and it does this through urine. So that means that the aluminum doesn't stick around in your system for too long and doesn't build up to dangerous levels, which is really good news. So even though aluminum is absorbed into your body, the study found that it doesn't seem to hurt your immune system. And in this study, researchers found that your immune system can still do its job even if there is a little bit of aluminum in your system. However, there was one small change in the immune system that researchers noticed. There's a special type of immune cell called CD8 plus CD45R0 plus cells, and these cells are basically just part of your body's immune memory. Immune memory is important because it's what helps your body to remember infections that it's fought before so that it can fight them again if they show up. And in the study, the researchers found that the number of these memory cells went down just a little bit, which suggests that the aluminum might have made it a little harder for your immune system to remember those past infections. So this change was very small, and even though there was a small change, the rest of the immune system stayed healthy, which means that even though your immune system might have a little bit less memory, it's still working just fine to protect you from infections. So if you only use aluminum-containing antacids occasionally, it's probably safe. It doesn't seem to cause harm to your immune system in any big way. The study was only looking at short-term effects though, so there's still a lot we don't know. We don't know what might happen if you use these antacids over a much longer period of time, or if you took larger amounts of aluminum in over time. And that's something that researchers are still studying, so we'll need more information in the future to fully understand what long-term use could do. So the main conclusion of this study was that aluminum from antacids does increase the amount of aluminum in the body, but this doesn't lead to big problems for the immune system. The only noticeable change was in those immune memory cells, which went down a little bit, but the drop wasn't large enough to cause any major problems. However, it is important to remember that this study was short-term. It only looked at what happens over a short period of time after using aluminum-based antacids, so we don't really know what happens if someone was to use these for a long time. We also don't know if larger doses would have a bigger impact on the immune system or your health in general. Also, this study didn't look at people who have other health problems. It's possible that people with certain conditions could be more affected by aluminum. So future research will need to study how aluminum might affect people with health conditions or those who are already at risk. In short, we still need more research to really understand how aluminum, especially from antacids, affects our health over a long period.
All right, everybody. So we know that was a lot of scientific mumbo jumbo. So to lighten the mood before we wrap up, we prepared a little joke for y'all. All right. So what's the difference between Iron Man and Aluminum Man? Iron Man stops the bad guys. Aluminum Man just foils their plans. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Now to wrap up, just like Iron Man, he's a part of a team. So as a team, we had to tackle this assignment together. In my opinion, as the one assessing the teamwork and how everyone did, I think each group member was able to contribute meaningfully in one way or another to the project. Team members, we had everybody assigned either 1 to 2 sections of the report to complete, and we'd all get together and kind of converse about the work each of us put in and just to take any feedback. So Aiden, he was tasked with writing the introduction and providing any background information or research on the topic. Harrison was asked to describe the methods and report the results in a way that was cohesive and easy for us to understand, which I think he did a great job of. Geneva, or Gigi, she interpreted the results, and as a group, we came together and kind of put our own ideas and opinions into it, and then we were able to finally write the conclusion and put it all together. And I, Obi, assessed the teamwork and described how we were able to use AI to kind of get this assignment complete. So for AI usage, Aiden did not need to use too much AI for his section or any at all, really. But however, Gigi and Harrison, who had a lot more of analytical work to do, they used AI as a means to kind of simplify any sections for better understanding or just make it easier for them to understand and write about so that we, the audience, or you guys, the audience, could, really take this in and have it mean something to you. So yeah, like I said, we all were able to contribute in a good way to this assignment, and we got it done. Thank you all for listening to our presentation. Have a good one.